Hey, my beautiful family and friends, my reflections. How are we? Doing good. This is a Shanelle Creates video, and I'm excited to share my process with you for this really cool project where I used bleach and water to create wearable art. This was my first time trying a bleach painting. I got the inspo from TikTok. My TikTok feed is just full of arts and crafts. And so this one caught my eye, and she showed her process of painting this black t-shirt with these eyes, and she used a projector and traced the design on the shirt before going in with bleach and water, and she cleaned up her lines in the end with black paint, fabric paint. And so I was looking at that, and I wanted to try it, and I actually happened to be wearing this green shirt dress, and I decided the back of the shirt dress would really be a cool place for one of those bleach paintings, and then it was just up to me to create a design. And so I went and chilled in my living room and just pulled out my iPad and my Apple Pencil and started to draw this design, because I had it in mind that I needed to do a negative space type of design. And I learned how to do this in art school back when I was going to Illinois State. I had a class that taught me about positive and negative shapes. You create the illusion with only using black and white. And so that was one of my favorite assignments that I had while going to Illinois State. I later transferred to Northern, but it was still something that always stayed with me. Everywhere where it's black, that's where I knew I would be leaving that olive green color of the shirt dress, and I knew that the white areas would be where I wanted to use the bleach and make it white. So, and as I was drawing, I was staring at my newest plant baby. This is a ficus named Zenobia. Isn't she beautiful? But this was a new leaf that was unfurling, so it was like wrapped up and it hadn't opened up yet, but I knew that it was coming, and that really inspired the message. And so the message that I gave this design is that I need to trust what's unfolding. Just as the flowers in this image expand up toward the sun, just as the petals are stretching out wide, catching the light, that's how I'm opening myself up. And I just want to be mindful of the nourishment that is all around me, just as the sun nourishes the plants. And I nourish my plants by feeding it water. I'm nourishing my own inner child, and I'm being nourished by my partner, and everything is about the balance between the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies. And so all the way down to the hard straight lines and angles, and then the curvier, softer shapes that are a part of this design, I'm adding that balance into the art, and I'm letting it be a mirror when I wear it to show me that I'm in a season of blooming. I started by printing out the black and white design that I made with my iPad Pro, and this took 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 paper, and I had to tape them together to make it this big. And I made sure that I liked the placement on the shirt, and then I used a white colored pencil to mark off each corner. And that's because my glass table had geniusly been turned into a light box, and I just came up with the idea to put these lights underneath and let it shine up through the artwork. And I wanted to see if I would still be able to see through it once I put the shirt dress over it. And the fabric is this thin suede, it's like a faux suede type of fabric, and it was thin enough for me to see the entire design right through it. I didn't want the fabric to be shifting around when it was time for me to trace the lines on the back. So I used tape and pulled it taut, and I made sure that the marks that I made around the image was still lined up. And so you can see just how well I was able to see the design. I think because I used a ring light, this part of it wasn't as bright as the rest, but I could still see it. And I had to make sure that my white colored pencil was very, very sharp. And I kept my pencil sharpener with me because as I went along with this process, it would wear the pencil down very quickly. But I turned off the light to check, and yep, I could see that line perfectly. And so all I had to do after that was trace the design. And I spread my fingers around the parts that I was tracing to make sure that it didn't ripple up on me. And I took my time tracing over every line, and this was quite an intricate design, as you can see. And when I turned the light off, everything was coming out crisp, so I was happy with how everything was going. And I got all the way to the end, and this became my template that I would be painting from. Next, I grabbed a Dixie cup and I just marked a line about halfway down the cup because I needed to put 1 part bleach and 1 part water. And I just put it in this small little container and use that as my paint cup, so to speak. So once I had my bleach water, I had to go outside where it was sunny, and I just started with a quick drop and realized that I needed a bigger brush. And so I'm using this brush and just dipping it into that bleach water, and then I'm just painting right in the lines. But this fabric, I quickly learned, is very absorbent and it had the bleach bleeding outside of the lines. And at this moment, I just made a commitment to still paint everything inside the lines, regardless of the spreading. And it was a pleasant day outside, and so I didn't mind sitting in the sun and doing this bleach painting carefully and having my feet planted on the concrete. I was grounding and happily painting. And the TikTok creator who I watched recommended wearing gloves for this process, but I didn't find the need for gloves. It was just working with my brush and I wasn't touching the bleach at all. It didn't matter if I put a little bit of bleach or a lot on my brush. It was just spreading like nobody's business. And so I felt like I just needed to apply it consistently. These shapes expanded into one another, and there was nothing I could do about it. It was cool how it started out looking this tan color, but as it was exposed to the sun, it would turn white. And I was alternating between the bigger brush and the smaller brush depending on what I was filling in with the bleach water. But eventually I was all done, and you can just see how keeping it consistent still brought me some nice results. And this was my setup in my rooftop view, but it was time to quickly get it in some peroxide water because that's what stops the burning effect of the bleach. And I didn't know from the TikTok video how much to put in, and I just wanted to make sure, so I added some more and just thoroughly drenched it in the peroxide water. And then I washed it in the washing machine with detergent. And once it was dried, I gave it a nice ironing, and here's the final result. I am obsessed with the finished result. My mom said that it looked like it was made that way, like she bought it from the store with that design on it. And I don't know, maybe she wants it back now that it has that painting. But it's mine now. I styled it with the handmade hat that I made as well. You can check that out on one of my previous videos. I can just see it all coming together, my new wardrobe, and I couldn't be more proud that I took the time to really customize this piece and make it special and make it my own. I've really been on my fashion game now, and I even went and found this vintage gold chain with the medallion that is handed down from my great grandmother, who is one of my angels now. So every day I find that the looks that I'm putting together are very purposeful. They tell a story, and it's what makes me unique. And so I hope you enjoyed this Shanelle Creates video. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you again for watching. And until next time, peace. Love you guys.